Waste Water Sports, ahoy! How is everybody doing? We're at the business end of the Big Bash, and it's been a fantastic tournament so far. I'm excited for this one, the qualifier for the final. For the loser, all is not lost, but obviously you want to win. You want to get yourself straight into the final and give yourself that week off. Brody Appleton, ahoy there, mate. Sanjay Meena, ahoy. XJC and UFC, ahoy there, mate. Ollie Gunn, you're ready to watch your team win tonight. Very nice. That's the kind of confidence that we like to hear. That is the sort of confidence that a Brisbane Heat supporter cannot give to their team. Trust me, I know. Welcome along, everyone. We are here, the business end of the season, as I said. And, it's going to be a good game. The Hobart Hurricanes and the Sydney Sixers, top of the table, Hobart Hurricanes, and the second-placed Sydney Sixers. Now, the big spanner in the works, of course, and just the way that the BBL tournament works. The international stars are gone. They're off to Sri Lanka. And obviously, the biggest hit team for that is the Sydney Sixers. I mean, out of these two, the Sydney Sixers will be feeling the pinch. No Steve Smith, and let's be honest, take Steve Smith's contributions out of the equation. Do the Sydney Sixers go as well as they have towards the back end of the season? Look, they quite possibly do. We'll never know. It's just a big game of what if when we start thinking like that. But the question does have to be asked. Steve Smith was on absolute fire coming back in. They're also going to be out without Todd Murphy and Sean Abbott. And let's not forget that James Vince as well is out for the remainder of the BBL. So the Sydney Sixers are starting to really, really test their squad depth. But they've been here before, haven't they? At the end of the day, the Sydney Sixers are very familiar with this situation. It's something that they have to contend with each and every year, and they certainly find ways to win. The Hobart Hurricanes, though, we've been talking about them throughout the season, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. They've been to 2 BBL finals and fallen short on both occasions. I just feel like, and I've been saying it since about the halfway point of the tournament, I just feel like it might be their year this year. They've got a very solid-looking team. I don't think they've really lost anybody to international duty. So it's a strong, consistent side. It'll be interesting to see. But either way, no matter who wins or loses tonight, for the loser, there will be a second chance. Obviously, a second chance that they don't necessarily want. But we'll see. Talk about it. So the Sydney Sixers have won the bat flip. They've elected to field first. It'll be interesting to see if they can restrict this dynamic Hobart Hurricanes batting lineup. I have stacked my first round of the multi with Hobart Hurricanes. I've got Tim David hit a 6. I've got Chaudhry for 20-plus runs, and Matt Wade for 10-plus runs. Now that I've done it, I probably should have switched those two around. I don't know. I just really like what Chaudhry's been contributing in the middle order in terms of just hunkering down there and building throughout the middle of an innings. I really like what he's been providing for the team. And Jack Edwards for the Sydney Sixers, anytime wicket taker. So that's our first sort of run with the Sydney Sixers winning the toss and electing to bowl first. Welcome along there, everybody. Ex-Set-Taj, ahoy. Laurie J. Moyle, ahoy there. Exclusive. Ahoy. Do I think Ben's going to get a wicket? Ben Dorshus could potentially be the leader of the Sixers bowling attack. without Sean Abbott. I know that Sean Abbott in the past couple of games has not been in the greatest of form, but he was still the spearhead of the unit, wasn't he? So a lot of pressure on Jackson Bird and Jack Edwards there for the Sydney Sixers. Ex-Set Taj sent a treasure box with times 20. I got to be honest, Ex-Set Taj, still very new to this whole TikTok thing. I've no idea what that means. I think somebody clicks on the treasure chest, right? Somebody can click on that treasure box and it does something. Riley McLean, what's the payout for my multi? For the whole 8 legs, it's somewhere up around the $36 mark to the dollar. Somewhere there or thereabouts. So the winner of this one goes straight through to the final, and they score themselves a little bit of a rest. For the loser, they will take on the winner of tomorrow's game to stay alive in the competition. DeHaans, ahoy there. And H. McLaughlin, thank you very much for sending the rose. Cheers. Angry Toby says if the Sixers win, you're going to the final. Oh, that'll be fun. Yeah, that'll be a wicked great time, I reckon. DeHaans needs Meredith and Dorcius for a wicket. I've got Riley Meredith in my multi for the Hobart Hurricanes bowling side of things. Absolutely, I do. Sydney Sixers won the bat toss and they have elected to field first. They want to know exactly what they need to do. And they've got to restrict this dynamic top order of the Hobart Hurricanes. Can they do it? Teams are out on the park at the moment. And the first ball will be underway momentarily. Looking forward to this one. It's going to be a good time. Honestly, the BBL 14 has delivered so far. BBL 14 for mine. I'm not sure if you agree with me or not. Let me know in the chat room if you do agree. BBL 14, no matter who you go for. Like, my team's been knocked out already. My team came second last. But BBL 14 has been certainly, in recent times anyway, in recent years, the most exciting edition of BBL that we've seen. I am a Brisbane Heat fan, yes. The tipping contest is over, Brizza Cruiser. I won. Top of the table, Wasted Water Sports, Big Bash. Tipping contest, won by me. Backing up my win with the NRL 2024 season. I just can't be stopped in the tipping world at the moment. Three seconds to go. And we will have the first delivery underway. Mitch Owen and Caleb Jewell to open the batting. And Jack Edwards charging in the first ball of the BBL 14 qualifier. And it is slashed through the covers, racing over the outfield. Will it go all the way for 4? Beautiful fielding there by Enriques, I think it is, the captain. But that is a very authoritative start for the Hurricanes. Mitch Owen straight into his work. Very fast-looking outfield. Enriquez, I do believe it was, has done very well to chase that down. Taj Wakely, thank you very much for sending the rose. Much appreciated. 3 runs off the opening ball. Beautiful in-swinger there. On a perfect length, Edwards. And all that can happen with that one is a defensive shot to the offside. Taking a quick single, though. It was well run. Edwards, a half volley is scooped up in the air by Owen. Has he got enough on it? Lord knows he does. Straight down the ground for 6. What a stunner of a hit that was. And Mitch Owen right into his form. AB1, ahoy there, mate. How are you today, buddy? Have I heard the news about what happened to James? No, I haven't. We haven't heard from James since the end of the NRL season. He has not participated. He has not participated in the cricket. None for 10 off the opening 3 balls. It's been a flyer here from the Hurricanes. Owen backs away, gives himself room. Well, if it turns out that that was actually him, it was just a presumption. DeHaan's asked, what's the reason for the bandana? Only been watching a couple of weeks, haven't asked. It's just a stylistic thing. I've got very long hair, as you can see. Long hair. And it just keeps it back as Owen chops this through the covers for 4. There is no point chasing after that one. And this is a big, expensive first over. The Hurricanes, none for 14. What a start. Caleb, thank you very much for the GG. The GGs. Much appreciated. Oh, and this time on the leg side. But there is protection out there at long on. 15 runs off the opening over. Couldn't have asked for a much better start there, the Hurricanes. And they are off to an absolute flyer here at the moment. Mitch Owen and Caleb Jewell. Yes, indeed. I might be regretting the decision to not have Mitch Owen in the multi. UFC asking when the NRL 2025 season stuff will start. Mate, I'm obviously very occupied at the moment with the Big Bash, but we're only a few games away from the end of BBL 14. We're in the finals now. After this one tonight, there will only be 3 more games left. And then we can get down to the business of NRL season 2025 as Perry comes in to bowl the second over, and he's got a lot of work to do. Edwards, they went after him. Bo and Kevin, ahoy, mate. Welcome back. I think the Sixers will quite obviously miss Steve Smith Sean Abbott and Todd Murphy. Don't forget that Todd Murphy is off to Sri Lanka as well. Daniel Vittori Jr. Oh, Jewel hangs the bat out and missing the outside edge there. Well bowled by Perry. And this is a much better start to the second over. UFC, you smoked pot with Todd Murphy in high school. I very much doubt that. Caleb Jewell pulls this one away into the gap, but well fielded out of the deep square leg fence. That was such a good shot for just one run. None for 17 off 1.3. And what a start this has been. Yeah, so some big outs for the Sydney Sixers. Of course, we were talking in the pregame about whether if you take Steve Smith's contributions out of the Sixers at the back end of the season, as now Mitch Owen just flat bats it straight back down the ground past the bowler for 4. Well, that is a monster of a shot. Elijah, thank you very much for the football. Gina Ferracini, ahoy. Jay King. Jay King or Jay Crown? What should I call you? Welcome back anyway, Jay King Crown. Yes, thank you very much for our gift senders so far. H. McLaughlin, Taj Wakely, Caleb, and Elijah. Sending through the things on the TikTok. Very much appreciated. 6 off this over so far to back up the 15 off the first. Owen advances and gives himself room on the offside and just lifts it over the top of cover for 6. Well, that is a monster of a shot. Mitch Owen is in a bloody mood. "75 metres over those short square boundaries." Mitch Owen could have a day out here on this sort of wicket. And Moses Enriquez, the captain for the Sixers. AB1 says Owen could be the next Mitch Marsh. Well, I certainly wish him a lot better than Mitchell Marsh. This time he pulls it over the top of the leg side. A couple of bounces for 4. And the Hobart Hurricanes, 2 overs, none for 31. What an incredible start. 2 overs, none for 31. And by the way, 29 of those are off the bat of Mitch Owen. Good Lord. I tell you what, if Mitch Owen is not already on the radar of all those T20 leagues around the world, he sure as hell will be after this BBL 14, you would have to think. You would have to think. Ben Dorshus into the attack. Somebody out there needs Ben Dorshus for their multi. Caleb Jewell slashes away through cover and point for 4. Now Caleb Jewell's getting involved. Jewell starting to feel a bit bad about only contributing 2 runs. Hammers this through the offside. Remember, very short boundaries here at Ninja Stadium. When I play cricket, I play like Mitch Owen as well. It's just a shame that it's Cricket 24 on the PlayStation. Wide down the leg side as Dorcius over adjusts. Just gets the line a little bit wrong. $16.62. The current run rate. This is insanity. A big game, a final, a qualifying final. Scoops this one around to a short fine leg. And a dot ball. A much needed dot ball. There for the Sixers. This has been an incredible start. Angelica, Philippines, ahoy there. Scoops this one away on the leg side. One bounce to deep square leg. That was nearly a wicket. Nearly the breakthrough. None for 37 here, 2.3. No, back when I used to play, I was very leg side heavy. So much so that like all my coaches and even all my teammates on the practice pitch, when I was in bat, they would just stack the leg side. Because they knew that's where I was hitting it. Very strong on the leg side. As Owen now scoops this up from outside off, all the way over the deep mid-wicket fence for 6. Well, he is in a mood and a half here, and old mate's dropped it. The man in the crowd has dropped it, and he shakes his head in disbelief. He can't believe he's put that one down. Oh, he had a... and he fell on his bum down the stairs. That's hilarious. Well, that just adds insult to injury. Or injury to insult, as the case may be in this situation. He fell off his seat and down the stairs as he tries to take the crowd catch. Probably shouldn't have laughed at the poor old bloke as much as I did, but that was pretty funny. Down the stairs he goes. At least it wasn't a big staircase. It was only just a little 2 or 3 stairs. None for 43. 2.5 overs gone. And let's not forget that that opening over by Jack Edwards that set the tone for this innings would normally have been bowled, you would imagine, by Sean Abbott. None for 43. 3 overs gone. What a start this is for the Hobart Hurricanes. Christian, 815. Ahoy, mate. How are you doing? Wasted Water Sports, live on YouTube, live on TikTok, usually live on Twitch and Facebook as well. Back when the footy season kicks off again, we'll be live on Twitch and Facebook again. Dark Humor God 621. I promise. I have promised every social media platform that we are on. If I'm ever making like Mr. Beast levels of money by content creating, the very first thing that I'm going to do is purchase a broadcasting license so that I can show the actual gameplay. But obviously, until such a time, copyright and all that, you know. Hayden Kerr into the bowling attack now. Starts with a single. Slower ball. Owen lifts it over onto the leg side. Didn't get all of it. Just through for a single. Jordan, ahoy, mate. Say Detail. Ahoy, welcome back. Wonton Soup Lover 1234. Ahoy, mate, welcome back. Into Jewel fends it back to the bowler. And Say Detail, thank you very much for the rose. Jordan says we need to get Michelle on for the final. Oh, yeah, UFC Only Firms over on the YouTube chat room. By the way, this whole new TikTok crowd that we've got going on at Wasted World of Sports, they love Michelle. Love her. It's funny, Jordan, because the NRL fan base on YouTube cannot stand her. The chat room is polluted with like, hey, Dan, can you have less Michelle in 2025? And over on TikTok, it's like, get Michelle back on. When's Michelle going to be back on? It is amazing, the difference in the dynamic. 3 singles off this over. It has been the best one by far for the Sydney Sixers. 4 balls gone, just the 3 runs from it. Mitch Owen, 36 off 13. Opens the legs up there. Well, that sounded wrong. Frees up his legs. Can't get hold of it. Square the wicket on the leg side. They come through for a leg bye. Just the 4 runs from this over. A good one from Hayden Kerr. Just what the doctor ordered here for the Sydney Sixers to try and rein this in a little bit. Jasper says, up the mighty NRL Redcliffe Dolphins. Final ball of this over, and it's a dot ball to finish. What an over from Hayden Kerr. Just the 4 runs from it. And it's none for 47 at the end of the power play. Alvin Kamara. Ahoy, mate. Why couldn't they play like this against the Stars? Because they didn't need to, Alvin. Quite frankly, I mean, they rested Riley Meredith, arguably their best bowler, and I still think they experimented. They tried a few things out because they didn't need to. They were top of the table, whether they won or lost. They just went out and had a little bit of fun the other night against the Stars. And it's good because it's got us that potential fairy tale of the Melbourne Stars carrying on as Chowan into the attack. Floats this one up and Mitch Owen goes after it. Skies it off the top edge. And he is on his way. Caught at mid-wicket. Or deep mid-wicket. Very deep. Very, very deep mid-wicket. Nearly got enough on it to send it for 6. And Mitch Owen's thrilling start to this innings comes to a close. The first ball after the power play. He's frustrated with himself there. But 36 off 15, he has got his team off to a fabulous start. He would have backed himself to get hold of that enough to those short square boundaries. 1 for 47. Mitch Owen's innings comes to a close. Now, no, Chaudhry won't come in yet, I don't suspect. I'm just waiting for Matthew Wade comes in. All right, there we go. Yes, I definitely should have switched Wade and Chaudhry, didn't I? Shouldn't I? I've got Chaudhry for 20 plus and Wade for 10 plus. I definitely should have switched them. Ah, well. Oh, I don't believe AB1. Me personally, I certainly don't believe that at all. It was always going to be a situation where the Hurricanes didn't take it all that seriously. For the Stars, they had everything to play for. The Hurricanes literally had nothing to play for. I don't think it was fixed. I think it was just a situation. One very, very determined team versus a team that didn't care, rested their best bowler so that he would be ready for tonight. Yeah, certainly not rigged. But, I mean, if you're a betting man and the Scorchers got knocked out because the Stars jumped into the 4 and you had money on the Scorchers to make the 4, I can understand why you would be a bit pissy about it all, but no, most certainly not rigged, but yeah, definitely one team cared a lot more than the other. Two runs and a wicket off this over so far. Matthew Wade goes for the reverse sweep. Can't get hold of that one. Matt Colkin, ahoy mate. How are you, Matty? I got a nice little update actually from I got a nice little update on Instagram from behind the scenes at the Australian Open from our girl Lizette Cabrera, keeping me in the loop with how things are traveling down there. One for 50, the Hobart Hurricanes. The big wicket of Mitch Owen. And it's Chauhan who got it. Now off the top edge and behind the keeper. Caleb Jewell gets away with that one. I don't know that she's from my area, Matt, but she's certainly up here a fair bit. Like, she trains. I've seen quite a few times that she's training with Lizette and Priscilla at the Pat Rafter Arena. Sometimes I go in there and I try and book the Pat Rafter Arena for a hit, and it's like, oh no, it's out of action today. But I digress. Oh, now potential injury here for Caleb Jewell. Caleb Jewell seems to have hurt himself. We'll keep an eye on that as Menanti comes into the bowling attack. They're going for spin from both ends now. Wade on strike. Pushes through the offside. Out to deep cover for one, and we'll see just how injured Caleb Jewell might be here. He's gone down in... Oh, yeah, okay. So what's happened to Caleb Jewell, for those who can't see? He's reached a long way down the wicket to try and sweep away. Well, if he's injured, he certainly is not showing it there. A beautiful little late cut. And it's past the man at deep backward point, racing away over that outfield for 4. Long story short, he had a little bit of a stumble as he was going through for the run. Caleb Jewell probably just overstretched the calf or the hamstring or something there in that motion of running. So yeah, he wasn't totally comfortable. 6 off this over so far. Wade backs way down the leg side, takes off for a run. Jewell not interested. Geez, Matthew Wade, he just took off there for the run, didn't even look at his partner. Very lucky to have not copped a run out there. I don't think Caleb Jewell will be taking any quick singles for a few overs. Wade backs away onto the leg side again. One for 59 here. Jewell back on strike, punches down the ground. Long off, comes around. Just a single to finish that over. 8 from it. And it's 1 for 60 after 6, maintaining that 10 runs per over. Oh, here we go, chat room. Can somebody tell me what all the fuss is about? I haven't cared enough to look into it all that much, but what is all this controversy at the moment with Novak Djokovic and boycotting interviews for Channel 9 and Nick Kyrgios has exploded on social media calling this guy out. I'm like, I wonder what he said. I haven't actually seen it or heard it. I'm like, geez, I wonder what he said. Not that it has to be anything bad necessarily. It doesn't take much to get Nick Kyrgios to blow up about anything, but Caleb Jewell guides this one down a third man for a single. Tony Jones said that Novak's overrated is a has-been and kick him out. Oh, okay. Well, surely Novak Djokovic's record alone shows that he's far from overrated. Matthew Wade goes for the late cut. Can't get it past the man of the circle as this big unit of a human being goes diving to his right. And he has taken an amazing catch at backward point right on the circle. Matthew Wade is gone. With him goes my multi. Stretching one hand out, Jack Edwards. And it sticks. The ball sticks right into those big mitts. Matthew Wade goes for 4, and that's a huge wicket. 2 for 61. And the Sydney Sixers fight back. Is on. Matthew Wade had the son of a bitch for 10 plus runs. Well, that's the end of my multi. Thank you, Matthew Wade. Barrel 72 Shane says all the jokers supported were chanting and Jones was in jest mimicking what they were saying. Well, that is a big wicket, this one, Matthew Wade. Perry is the bowler. 1 for 17 off his 1.2 now. What a take that was from Jack Edwards. Ben McDermott advances down the wicket on his first ball and punches down to long on for a single. Risky to advance on your first ball. You've got Perry and Kerr's signature. Very nice. I'll tell you what I still have. I've still got a whole bunch of signatures about the place somewhere in my storage. But I'll tell you one that I very specifically remember getting. I remember at the Gabba in the early 90s, I got Bill Laurie's autograph. Of course, I'm at the naturally I'm at the cricket, and so I'm getting autographs from the commentators. Perry, 3 runs and a wicket off this over. Beautifully bowled there. Nice full pitch delivery, swinging back in at the right-hander. And Ben McDermott chops it off the inside edge onto the pads. And it dribbles away for no run. 2 for 63. Things are really slowing down here. Still off to a very good start, though. But another wicket. Oh, boy, that would make things very interesting. Defended back to the bowler. And that's a good over there. A breakthrough and nothing but singles from it. Only 3 of them. 3 runs and a wicket. And it's 2 for 63 after 7. The wicket of Mitch Owen just sort of slowed things down a wee bit here for the Hurricanes, as you would expect. Mitch Owen was in sensational form. Chauhan, 1 for 5. Back into the bowling attack, got the big wicket of Mitch Owen. Now Jewel reaches from way outside off to sweep it out to square leg, just the 1 run. One for 6. Been the difference maker so far, Chauhan. The run rate now dropping under 10. It's 8.93 and over. Turned off the legs. Dot ball, miscommunication, and a chance of a run out. Jewel dives back in at the non-strikers end. No harm done. Giving each other a little thumbs up there. But they're just stalling here. McDermott goes for the reverse sweep. Out to backward point for 1. All right, what am I looking up here? Under 19s scores. Chauhan, 3 balls left. Jewel cuts it away. There's a man on the rope out there, so it's all good. Will Main, ahoy mate. Under 19 Cricket World Cup. Spinners give India control. Oh, is this women's cricket? India and Sri Lanka make it 2-2. Geez, there's a lot of... how many overs do they play? There's a lot of sub-100 scores here. Single off the last ball. Chauhan bowls well again. And the Hurricanes are 2 for 68. Malaysia are playing in this. That's pretty cool. I didn't even know Malaysia played cricket, to be perfectly honest. Hayden Kerr into the bowling attack. Jewel pushes square on the offside. Things have slowed down to a crawl here for the Hurricanes. It's been a lot of balls since their last boundary. Push to the offside, taking the quick single. A direct hit would be interesting. But missing the stumps. Just the 1 run there. And with the wickets, the Sydney Sixers have really tightened up their bowling. Kerr wide outside off stump, just Jewel opening the face. And they come back for two, pushing hard for those 2 runs. Well run. And do a Super Bowl stream, says Jordan. Will Main, you've still got us winning it all. And Noah B says, come on, Sixers. Kerr in again. Nice full delivery. Punched back on the bounce to him. Fields his own bowling for another dot ball. Houston footy. Ahoy there. Geez, the Hobart Hurricanes, they got off to a flyer. But the Sydney Sixers, as they do, they've found a way to manufacture wickets and they've found a way to really pull back the run rate. It was looking like the Hurricanes were going to run away with it, but the Sixers just doing Sixer things. As Joel now cuts this away, square of the wicket, and a diving effort in the outfield saves a 4. That was such a good shot to only get 2. Well fielded, and that's the sort of fielding that puts the pressure on the batting team because it has been a long time since their last boundary. And the drought continues. The last boundary is 1 ball away from dropping off the timeline. And it will drop off the timeline. Just turn down a third man for a single. 7 off the over. And it's 2 for 75 after 9. Still, they're going very well. Nonetheless, I think this is still a good start. And I would dare say that the Hurricanes still favourites with Sportsbet at the moment. You would have to think, yes, quite. Yep. $1.51, Sydney Sixers $2.50. Jordan Silk has been quite quiet in BBL 14, hasn't he? There's been a few players haven't quite lived up to the high, lofty expectations that we expect from them. I would have Jordan Silk definitely in that list. He hasn't been bad. He just hasn't been the standout that we expect him to be. Noah B says your mate was the Sydney Sixers at airport. Oh, Jewel just hangs the bat out awkwardly at this one. Beats the outside edge through to the keeper for a dot ball. Laziness there from Caleb Jewell. That's more like it, using the footwork there and just pushed through the offside. Single is taken. 2 for 76, but boy, oh boy, have things slowed down here. Advancing down the wicket, McDermott hammers this back down the ground to long on. Two for 78, 9.3. Shormo. Maxi's catch, or that one just before. Still Maxi's catch. Jordan, thank you very much for the 6 roses. I still think Maxi's catch was far and away more exciting. Hunter Gray up the Sixers. Up the Sixers, who are really, really putting the squeeze here on the Hurricanes after the electric start that they got off to. McDermott pushing the quick single. Direct hit has him. Misses. Oh, that would have been so tight. That is the pressure they're under at the moment. Rock my balls. Ahoy, mate. Go the Melbourne Stars. Melbourne Stars, of course, playing tomorrow in the Eliminator, and McDermott was toast there. McDermott was gone for all money with a direct hit. They're just feeling the pressure a little bit here, the Hurricanes, as the Sixers continue to squeeze. Edwards in again. Jewell fends away for a dot ball to finish the over. 2 for 81 after 10. We're at the halfway point. The players will have a drinks break. And this game is just starting to even up. Mitch Owen got the Hurricanes off to a flyer. And it looked for all money like they would just run away with it at that point. But as always happens, wickets slow you down, especially when it's a wicket of like Mitch Owen or somebody of that nature. And it's been some good bowling by the Sixers as well. Maybe it just took them some time to get going, took them some time to find their line and length, and they've well and truly found it now. Walshy, ahoy. Welcome along. 2 for 81. Now, geez. I don't think you call the power surge with these two out there, do you? You wouldn't take the surge with these two out there. The surge is for players like Tim David. Jocker, ahoy, mate. Welcome back. We'll find out, though. 2 for 81 here. 10 overs gone. And Chauhan back into the attack. No thought of the power surge, as I expected. It's a little too early the way they're going at the moment, though. They don't want to find themselves bogged down too much. Matthew Wade, at the moment, the batsman who's let me down horribly. There's always one. Two for 81 after 10. I think very, very delicately poised game. Wide down the leg side from Chauhan, and they come through for a single. Direct hit. Would have been interesting. I think he was home nonetheless. Wide is called. And Chauhan's got that horribly wrong. Joel backs away, scoops this off the top of the toe of the bat, almost. And it lands safely just outside the circle. They'll come through for one and push back for a second. Two for 85. Joel with the reverse sweep attempt misses. Philippe whips the bails off, but Joel was safely home that whole time. And this has really just slowed down so badly, hasn't it? It has been an incredible turnaround so far. Not out. Well, we already knew that. Why were they even looking? Jewel pulls this away. Protection out there on the rope. A deep square leg and a deep mid-wicket in place. Mid-wicket covers it off. 2 for 86. 31 balls since the last boundary. There we go. That is how the Sydney Sixers have just turned the screws here and really tightened up the Hurricanes batting. The wickets of Wade and Mitch Owen. 32 deliveries since the last boundary. That is insanity. And a single down to long off. Jewel moves to 34 off 32. McDermott 10 off 11. Skews away off the outside edge of the bat for a dot ball to finish. 2 for 88. 11 overs gone. That run rate continues to drop. Well, honestly, they don't want to be using the power surge. I don't think you use the surge with these two batsmen out there. They've found themselves in a really awkward situation at the moment. The Hurricanes. I feel like they're just in this really awkward holding pattern now because, geez, if you had a Matthew Wade out there, if you had Mitch Owen, obviously, if Mitch Owen's out there, it's an obvious call. If Matt Wade was out there, you could still do it. I just, with McDermott, I suppose, if McDermott gets himself set in and gets going. But geez, they're in a really awkward spot here, the Hurricanes. Who'd have thought that after the start they got off to, they'd find themselves under a little bit of pressure here as Dorcius starts this over with a single. Welcome back, Jordan. Dorcius, nice full delivery. Hard for McDermott to scoop that off on the leg side. Didn't get to the pace of that at all. And they'd be going up towards 40. Up towards 40 deliveries since the last bound. We were talking about 250, which was very ambitious, I know, and it was very early call. But the way that the Hurricanes were travelling along as McDermott tries to pull this one over the top of mid-wicket. He's through the shot too early, and it just dribbles down to long on for a single. And Ben McDermott, 11 or 14, but looking far from comfortable. Certainly hasn't got his eye in. Dorcius, just 2 runs off this over so far. Another good one for the Sixers. And again, they just can't get to the pace of it. Jewel swings and misses. And it's away for a leg by. And the squeeze is on here. The Sydney Sixers, they've got their hands over the throat, and they are squeezing at the moment. Something has got to give here. The next 6 deliveries are going to be very interesting because one of these two is either going to throw their wicket away or they're going to get very lucky and get an edge or a skewed shot away for 4, and that'll break the shackles a little bit as McDermott swings and misses. He's not even to the line or length of that delivery, and it's a big swing and a miss. And this is good bowling. Cuts this one away. That's a much better shot, but there is a man right there at deep cover. And this next over is going to be very, very interesting because we now have around 40 deliveries or thereabouts since the last boundary's been hit to very frustrated-looking batsmen. Something has got to give, and I've got a feeling it might just happen this over. This over could produce a wicket, or it could produce a couple of boundaries. And those boundaries might not necessarily be with authority. It's going to be a very interesting over. 2 for 92 after 12, after the start they got off to. This is now starting to look a little bit miserable for the Hurricanes. That run rate, 7.67. UFC OnlyFans says, let's go Stoinis. He's not even playing tonight, UFC. McDermott advances down the wicket. Cuts it over the top of point for just the single. And the frustration continues here as the Sydney Sixers continue to put the squeeze on. Two for 93, making the home side earn every single run. Walshy, thank you very much for sharing the live as Kerr backs out of that delivery. Dead ball. At the end of the power play, the Hurricanes were somewhere up around nice full delivery. Driven on the leg side, mid-wicket picks it up. And another dot ball. UFC OnlyFans says, do you think the band name My Chemical Romance relates to substance abuse? Never really thought about it like that, but Joel goes for the big pull shot. Doesn't get hold of it, a bottom edge that just dribbles away. Marcel Bunce, who wins the BBL? Oh, geez, well, I've been tipping the Hurricanes now for about, since about the halfway point of the competition. They're going to have to pull their finger out here, though. The squeeze is on. Again, McDermott can't get to the pace of it. 17 deliveries he's faced, 18 now for 14 runs. And he is just not getting to the pace of the wicket at the moment. Stay mad, lol, says, come on, Sixers. Kerr is bowling extremely well. Dorsius has been bowling well. Edwards has found his line and length. And the home side, pressure. Driven through the offside, cannot beat the cover. Walshy, thank you very much for the hearts. This game is very evenly balanced. I mean, it was obvious after the power play, it was obvious the Hurricanes were well on top. And then the Hurricanes started to slow down. The Sydney Sixers found some parity. And at the moment, the Sydney Sixers, they'll be pretty happy with the way things are going right now. 5 off the over, 2 for 97. 13 overs gone. Something's got to give. The Hurricanes, they can't just keep plodding along at 5 or 6 and over. They've got to get going again. Jack Edwards back into the attack. Started to find his line and length, as we were saying. Tom Woodward, thank you very much for the share as well there. Very much appreciate that. Ben McDermott. Oh, that's a full toss. Will this be called a no ball? And McDermott's clubbed it down the ground for 4. Is that the moment that finally breaks the shackles? I think it just slipped out of the hands there from Big Jack Edwards, and it was a gift. McDermott, he's been struggling, but that is the sort of delivery that would bring anybody into form. A gift. And will that break the shackles for the Hurricanes and put them back on top here? A poor delivery, that one from Edwards. We're doing the old switcheroo. The channel switcheroo. Eventually. Marcel, I go for the Brisbane Heat, I'm afraid. It has not been a good year to be a Brisbane Heat supporter. God. Honestly, it's been a nightmare scenario. It's been a nightmare scenario having to change the channel. I am definitely sending that nasty email to Channel 7. It's happening, I promise you. It's 2 for 103 here. Edwards, with that loose first delivery, has gone for 6 off this over so far, and that could have just opened things up now for the Hurricanes. Oh, swing and a miss from McDermott. A half volley outside off. Two for 103. Oh, very nice. You got a Sam Billings jersey. Sam Billings, of course, one of the players that I can't understand why the Brisbane Heat let go, along with Josh Brown. 2 for 103, 13.4 overs in. And again, a swing and a miss outside off. Well, Ben McDermott, unless he's getting slow full tosses, he is just not making contact. Ben McDermott, 23 deliveries, clearly does not have his eye in. This time it's better. Cover drive and through for 4. That's a much better shot. That is to the line and length of the delivery that was bowled. 10 off the over. Ben McDermott, that is a much better shot. Beautiful cover drive. 2 for 107, 14 overs gone. Oh, geez, they'll be disappointed with this, though, the Hurricanes. After the start that they got off to. It's amazing how this has just died down. UFC only fans, you smoked pot with Sam Billings in college? Of course you did. Once again, not possible. Oh, they're going to call the surge here. They are calling the power surge. It is time to go. The Hobart Hurricanes. Yeah, either that or one of these two should just throw their wicket away and bring Tim David up the order. Power surge call. Caleb Jewell on strike. Ben Dorsh's to bowl. These are a massive 2 overs now. Massive 2 overs. After the start they got off to the Hurricanes, these are so important. Jewell chops it away through the covers on the offside. Saves the boundary to Zonriquez. And they'll come back for 2. Didn't quite get to the pace of it. Ben Dorsch has taken the pace off the ball, and they're really, really struggling to go for it. UFC OnlyFans, 5 days sober, going for the big 30. Oh, very nice, mate. Good job. Jewel scoops this up in the air. And Edwards drops the catch. Did it carry? It looks like it carried. Caleb Jewell has tried to lift this one over the top of mid-on. Edwards bounces just short. Just short. And they come through for a single to bring McDermott on strike. 3 runs off the opening 2 balls here of the surge. Some decent bowling again here for the Sixers. Dorshus drops this in a little shorter, and McDermott lifts it over the top of mid-off. And this should race away for 4, although the big fella's after it. And saving the boundary. They come back for 2. Do they push for a 3rd? They do. 3 runs. Caleb Jewell's on strike again, 40 or 40. The 50 partnership is up, 52 in 49 deliveries. That just goes to show you how, well, I mean, they'll still be going along at 6 and over, so, I mean, 6 and over is not terrible, but they're yet to take a maximum off this surge. Bowled him! Caleb Jewell's been clean bowled. Ben Dorshus gets the wicket, and at least for the Hurricanes, they can bring Tim David in if they want. They can bring in Mr. Power Surge himself, Tim David, if they decide to. Well, they had to go. Something had to give. They were yet to get a boundary off these surge balls. And Caleb Jewell clean bowls. 3 for 113. Advantage Sydney Sixers at the moment. Phoenix FN 13. Ahoy, mate. Blake, at least you can get a score update while on the shitter. Nice. Nice to know that I'm being of service. And there we go. They do elevate Tim David up the order. Of course they do. It was the only common sense decision to make here. Three for 113. Tim David, 2 balls left in this opening over. UFC loves having me on as background noise while you're on the grind. Dorshus to David. Outside edge through the vacant slip cordon for 4. Well, there we go. Look at that. He's out there. First ball. Okay. He didn't mean to hit it there, but it is a 4 immediately. Three for 117. David goes again, pulls this square of the wicket on the leg side for 6. Well, that's what they needed, the Hurricanes. They needed Tim David in. Three for 123, 15 overs gone. Could Tim David be the difference maker here now? See, honestly, I probably would have... I don't know. If I were the Hurricanes, I probably would have advised just having an over or two for Jewell and McDermott to just go for it. They've essentially wasted half the surge. Look at what Tim David could have been doing. Just go for it. Go. Okay, look, we're going to have Tim David come in next. Let's just start trying to tonk it. And if we get ourselves out, we get ourselves out because Tim David's coming in next. And then that very next over, we will take the surge so that he can start it. Anyway, Hayden Kerr to bowl. The second of the surge overs. McDermott on strike, backs away, gives himself room, and he pulls this away out to square leg for a single, which will bring Tim David on strike. And that is exactly what they need here, the Hobart Hurricanes. Tim David on strike in the power surge. He's 10 runs off 2 balls. David gives himself space on the leg side, but well bowled by Hayden Curry, followed him, and David just pushes away to mid-off for a single. What an anticlimax. Just the 1 run there. That was some good bowling from Kerr. Batsman tries to give himself some room. Just follow him. Extremely well bowled. McDermott back on strike. Advances down the wicket and drills this over the top of mid-off for 4. That is Ben McDermott's best shot of the night so far. Three for 125. Blake wouldn't mind another 6's wicket. Got a feeling it could be Ben McDermott, although that maybe he's finally got his eye in Ben McDermott. 32 of 27. 3 balls left to the surge. McDermott skies this one, but should have enough on it. Yes, it does. It's gone back on top of the hill for a big 6. And Ben McDermott does indeed finally have his eye in. Ollie is the best. Ahoy, mate. Jonathan says ahoy. Ahoy, Jonathan. 82 metres over deep square leg. That's a biggie. Go fetch that one, says Jordan. And I think that comment was about the off drive. Well, they can definitely go and fetch that one. 12 off this over so far. A good one for the Hurricanes. Slower ball, full of pitch. Drilled down the ground for 4 more. Well, Ben McDermott. For 24 deliveries, Ben McDermott would not have been able to hit the ball if it was on a tee, if it was on a hitting tee. He wouldn't have been able to hit it. And suddenly, he's just gone boom, 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 4-6-4. Final ball of the power surge. Beating him, a big shout for LBW, but I think it's pitched outside leg. Umpire wasn't interested. They come through for a leg bye. 17 off that over. Oh, he's furious, is Hayden Kerr. Rips the cap away from the umpire. He's in a foul mood. 3 for 140, so decent power surge there for the Hurricanes. 3 for 140 after 16. Okay, so now we start talking about score predictions. So, at minimum, they're going to go 6 and over from here. Absolute minimum. So, 24 runs minimum. Get some 164. They're going to need more than that, I reckon. After the start that they got off to, you'd think that they would be eyeing off 180. So, they've got to go around 10 and over, I reckon. Get themselves up to 180. Otherwise, the Sydney Sixers will be quite pleased. Especially considering the start that they got off to. They being the Hurricanes. McDermott on strike. Chauhan in. Floats it up. McDermott goes after it. Has he got enough on it? It's high. Up in the air and taken by the man at long off. Well, there is the wicket. And Chauhan's got it again. Ben McDermott spits some obscenities as he walks off the crease. He just got under that one a little too much there, McDermott. And Chauhan with a big wicket. Ben McDermott was just starting to get his eye in. 42 off 31. I mean, I know it's easy to talk about things on reflection, right? The benefit of hindsight, as they say. But if things really go balls up here for the Hurricanes, can they look at that period of time, that cheeky little period of time where Caleb Jewell and Ben McDermott just chewed up the deliveries, didn't they? They went too slow for too long before they decided that they would try and get a move along. But as we say, benefit of hindsight and all that. Nickel Chaudhry out to bat. Just glides this fine down the leg side. Could go all the way here for 4. Racing over the outfield. But a good chase by Ben Dorshus. Saves the boundary. They'll come back for 3. And you get the feeling that Tim David is the key now for the Hurricanes. Projected score, 173 at 8 runs in over. You feel like that would be the minimum that they would be targeting. David fends it away. Square on the leg side, just the 1. Jordan wants an odds update. Ben McDermott skied the first ball straight down the throat of long off. Didn't get hold of it. And on his way he went. Chauhan in again. Chaudhry onto the back foot. Punches down the ground for 1. And, well, the Hobart Hurricanes are very well priced here. Sportsbet has them at $1.44 favourites to the Sydney Sixers, $2.75. So I'm a bit perplexed by those odds, actually. Lachlan Smith asks who my favourite team is in the Big Bash at the moment. Oh, look, I'm on the swing and a miss by David outside off, looking to cut it away. I am definitely on the Melbourne Stars hype train. That fairy tale story, bottom of the table, winless after 5 games, halfway through the season, going on a tear. As David pulls this, has he got enough on it? Yes, he does. Over deep square leg for 6. And that is a big finish to the over. 4 for 151, 17 overs gone. A good finish to the over. Tim David. After the start, they got off to the Hurricanes, and now seeing what Tim David's doing out there. Perry into ball. Chaudhry cuts it away. Can't beat the man a cover. Enriquez there. Keeps it to a dot. 4 for 151. We are in the business end of the innings now. Chaudhry cuts away again. They'll come through for a single. Yeah, Tim David, from here on in, surely here's the key between a big 180, 190, or the Hurricanes just scraping through to 170. Either way, the Sydney Sixers, they've done extremely well to keep themselves in this fight. David cuts this one away, but straight to point. Just the one run. No, he says no. Did he? They said no. Oh, they did take the single. Okay. I was going to say, they did take the one there to bring Chaudhry on strike. 17.3 overs in, 4 for 153. Perry to Chaudhry. Drifts onto the pads, turns it fine, and that will be cut off. Yes, no, it's beat the man at deep fine leg. Chauhan racing around, dives over the top of it, and Chaudhry gets that nicely fine for 4 and a much-needed boundary. Four for 157. 17.4 gone. Chaudhry trying to glance this one back down. Fine on the leg side again. Has he made contact? Big appeal for LBW. Perry was the only one interested, and Enriquez says, we'll have a look, mate. We'll have a look. But, yeah, a rather ambitious appeal, I think. Perry was literally the only person interested. Chaudhry had walked a long way across the stumps. So let's have a look. This has gone up as not out. The umpire was not interested in the slightest. Chaudhry's practicing his batting. He's not really interested at all. Perry, the bowler, literally the only one interested here. It's pitched outside the line. Impact will be close, actually. And height will be umpire's call at best. Impact might even be umpire's call. It's definitely a lot closer than I initially gave it credit for, though. But, yeah, it's pitched a long way outside. Impact is umpire's call, and the wickets are hitting. Review retained, but the decision stands. Yeah, when the bowler is literally the only person on the field interested in the appeal. Four for 158, 17.5 overs gone. 7 off this over so far. 1 to go. David on strike. 19 off 7. Pulls this one away. Square on the leg side and straight through the man. A deep square leg. Well, that's some poor fielding out there. It has just ripped through Benny Dorshus, I think it is, out there on the rope. And that is a solid, cracking shot from Tim David. 4 more. 4 for 162. 18 overs gone. So the 170 is looking pretty comfortable. If they can lift themselves up to 180, 190, anything above that would be a bonus. After the start they got off to, I don't think they can really accept anything below 180, to be honest. Just mentally, for the pure psychology of it, they surely can't accept anything less than that. Wonton Soup Lover, 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome back, mate. Jocker, I'd like to see the Hurricanes win. I really would. I would love to see a Hurricane Stars final so that we're guaranteed of a new winner, as this is right in the slot. Chaudhry doesn't quite get to it. And it's one bounce out to mid-wicket. Sky Finks, ahoy, mate. What does impact mean and why is it not out? So impact means where the ball hits the batsman's pad in relation to the stumps. It either impacts the batsman's pad in line with the stumps or outside the line of the stumps. David scoops this one up onto the leg side. They'll push for 2, you would think. Running hard and getting the 2. So the impact has to be in line with the stumps, otherwise it can't be given out. Four for 165. And Tim David, 25 off 9. Racing along nicely again. Oliver Wilson, 304. My day's been pretty good. Pretty good. I've been looking forward to this game. Dorshus, full toss, straight up in the air, should be taken. This will be the end of Tim David. The man comes in from the fence at deep mid-wicket and takes the catch under a lot of pressure there. And David goes for 25 off 9. He's done what he needed to do, though, in fairness. Tim David has done what he needed to do, contributed. Lockie, thank you very much for the heart me as well, by the way. Cheers. 5 for 165 now, 18.3 overs gone. And, geez, who comes out now? You send Chris Jordan out, I suppose. You send Chris Jordan out with a free license and say, mate, just go for it. Well, you send everybody out and say, just go for it. 18.3 overs in, don't you? Jonathan is shouting us a party at his place. Reed is coming too. Very nice. And they do bring big Chris Jordan out. I'll try and speak properly at some point throughout the course of the night too, I promise. They bring out big Chris Jordan. And here we'll go from ball number 1 here. Dorshus to Jordan. Turned off the pads for a quick single. I absolutely wish that I could make it, Ollie. One of these days. Geez, TikTok keeps going the way that it's going. I'll be able to afford a ticket in no time. Come and join one of the monster parties. Beautiful Yorker there from Dorshus to Chaudhry. Digs it out and they come through for a single. Five for 167. Jordan asks if I'm doing the Maori versus Indigenous All-Stars game. It really depends, Jordan. I mean, most likely, because I probably won't have anything else to do that night. Jordan. Chris Jordan, by the way, not chat room Jordan. Chris Jordan fends it away to the leg side. A dot ball to finish there for Dorshus. 2 for 36 off his 4. It's 5 for 167. This game... Oh, geez. I reckon this game is very delicately poised here. I am not necessarily agreeing with Sportsbet, who still have the Hurricanes at incredibly short-priced favourites. I think the game's a lot closer than that at the moment. But the Hurricanes have got such a strong bowling lineup. Such a strong bowling lineup. Riley Meredith back tonight. Yeah, okay. I'm still leaning towards the Hurricanes big time. Big time. Riley Meredith, Nathan Ellis. Yes, UFC Maori versus the Indigenous is the NRL's pre-season practice game. Essentially, it's a practice game. Edwards into Chaudhry, pulls this one away. Beats the man, does he? No. Well fielded by Jordan. Silk at long off. Restricts it to 2. That is amazing fielding That is incredible fielding. Jordan Silk, he's been quiet with the bat this BBL 14, but yeah, he's certainly up to standard with the fielding. Edwards to Chaudhry, drops this one in a little short, but Chaudhry straight down the ground to Silk at long on again. And just a single. Five for 170. 4 balls left in this batting innings. Oh, we've got a game on our hands here. Now, can the Sydney Sixers put on this sort of total without Stephen Smith, though? That could be ultimately what it comes down to. Jordan steps back in his crease, whips this one away, square on the leg side. One bounce to the man on the rope back there, and just a single. 5 for 171. This is good bowling at the death here from Edwards. Only 4 from the over so far. Watch those odds just tighten up a little bit too, I reckon. If it's 3 more singles to end this innings, that $1.50 probably becomes more like $1.70. And the Sydney Sixers drop from $2.50 to around about $2.20. Would be my guess. Slower ball outside off, scoops it up in the air. Chaudhry should be taken. And it is taken. A simple catch by the man in the covers. Captain Courageous, Moses Enriquez. Well, I think he's the captain. He should be. Moses Enriquez takes the catch. Chaudhry departs for 14 runs. And another wicket falls for the Hurricanes, who Mitch Owens, really the only Hurricanes batsman that got going. Caleb Jewell and Ben McDermott obviously contributed with high scores in the 40s, but they chewed up so many deliveries in doing so, didn't they? Mitch Owen made batting look easy out there until he got himself out at the start of the 5th over. 6 for 171 after the start that they got off to. The Hurricanes, they'll be disappointed with this score, and the Sydney Sixers, I dare say, will go into this innings break the slightly happier of the two teams as Nathan Ellis comes out to bat now. 2 deliveries left to face. Edwards, considering that Edwards got hit for 15 off his first over, his 1 for 34 of 3.4 is immaculate bowling. Wide out the offside. And it is called. And of course, I've just talked him up and he goes and does that. So he's got to bowl that one again. 6 for 172. Just psychologically, they need a couple of boundaries here, the Hurricanes. They've got to get themselves up to 180. I really feel like that 180 after the start they got is the psychological barrier. A slow Yorker, and it's punched back down the ground to the bowler. Edwards is bowling sensationally. Jack Edwards got tonked by Mitch Owen for 15 off the opening over of the game. So his figures of 1 for 35 after 3.5 is bloody incredible. Amazing how he has got himself back into this contest, Jack Edwards. 6 for 172, final ball of the innings. And it's a beautiful Yorker. Ellis clips it away in the air on the bounce. Out to cover, deep cover. They come back for 2 and he's run out. It is 7 for 173. And the Sydney Sixers, they go into this innings break. I would feel like they think they're on top. I honestly think the Sydney Sixers walk into this innings break the slightly happier of the two teams. And look at the odds, by the way. Look at the odds. I said if it's 3 dot balls, The Hurricanes will blow out to 170, and the Sixers will come into around $2.20. And at the innings break, the Hobart Hurricanes $1.65, the Sydney Sixers $2.20. In all honesty, though, I do think the Sydney Sixers go into that innings break with the momentum. They did amazing to slow things down there. We were talking about an easy 200-plus scoreline, the way that the Hurricanes started, and then the wicket of Mitch Owen, and it was just too many overs got chewed up. Caleb Jewell and Ben McDermott both ended up going on to make decent scores in the 40s, but they chewed up so many deliveries in doing so. And that really killed off, stifled the momentum that Mitch Owen had started. Tim David tried to get things going again after the power surge, but yeah, I mean, look, 7 for 173, it's not a bad score. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not talking as if the Hobart Hurricanes just completely sucked out there. I'm not saying that at all. That is still a good score, and that is a very defendable total when you've got the likes of Riley Meredith and Nathan Ellis who are going to be storming in to bowl the opening overs. That is still going to take some chasing for the Sixers. All I'm suggesting is that after the start that the Hurricanes got off to, the Sixers, I feel, just go into that innings break the slightly more confident of the two teams. But as always, one wicket, one early breakthrough swings the whole thing, doesn't it? These games can turn in an instant. And the Sydney Sixers will have to turn to their experienced campaigners, Josh Philippe, Moses Enriquez. These are the players that could see them home. The Sydney Sixers, they've always found a way, haven't they? They're just one of those teams, no matter how strong or weak they may or may not be on paper, they just always find a way. They're like the Melbourne Storm of the Big Bash in that respect. UFC's been saying Hurricanes for weeks. Why didn't you ever tip them then, UFC, in the tipping contest that you're a part of? I know, because you didn't really set up the account. The fascinating stuff there, the Waste of Water Sports tipping contest that UFC OnlyFans was in but not in. I've seen it all now. All right, Waste of Water Sports innings break here. I will have a quick break myself, and we'll be right back after this for the run chase. Can this sensational Hobart Hurricanes bowling lineup defend the total, or will the highly experienced Sydney Sixers get the job done against all the odds once more? UFC says maybe if you're part of the NRL competition, it carries into the cricket. No, not at all. Cricket Australia and the NRL are not associated in any way. So, no, somebody's done it on purpose. If it wasn't you, somebody's done it on your behalf on purpose. All right, quick break, and we'll be back for the run chase. This game in the balance. And I'm very much looking forward to the chase. Oh, it was you, was it, Michelle? After all this time, the one person we never suspected. Ah, see, she just admitted it, UFC. She just admitted it, and I sort of read it in my own head in the voice of Jim Carrey from Liar Liar. When he let the fart rip in the elevator. And it's like, she's been holding it in for this whole time, and it's just like, it was me. Quick break. Run chase coming up after this. Hurricane Sixers. I think I was about to say something. Oh, well. Anyway, wait a sec. I'll be back. All right, Wasted Water Sports. Innings break here. The Hobart Hurricanes, the home side, being sent into bat, have set 173 to try and chase down got themselves up to a fantastic start with Mitch Owen on fire. But then they just sort of struggled for large chunks of that middle period. And the Sydney Sixers have got themselves a chance here, but I think it's fair to still be leaning towards the... it's still fair to be leaning towards the Hurricanes here in this one as favourite. So Mitch Owen starting extremely well. Let's bring up the scorecard. Mitch Owen got himself 36 runs or 15 balls. 3 4s, 3 6s. For the Hobart Hurricanes, Mitch Owen, he departed way too early. They were flying in the opening stages of the innings. So for the Sydney Sixers, Steve Smith, Sean Abbott, and Todd Murphy are all off to Sri Lanka. And there's also no James Vince. Nate Swindle says 173, still a good score. They'll bowl well. Absolutely they will. Riley Meredith was rested from the last game, and they missed him the last game from the bowling attack. One of the best bowlers. Steve Smith's got an injured elbow as well. Yes, so he probably wouldn't have been playing anyway. But he has still gone on tour. The injury is obviously not to the extent that they can't see him playing any cricket, because I do believe that he has still gone on tour with the squad. Hurricanes are the favourites right now. Yes, I would say so. Aiden, Nathan Ellis, Riley Meredith, Chris Jordan back into the team. Got a game under his belt as well to bowl those middle overs. Such a solid bowling unit will surely be able to defend 173. Just restrict the options for Josh Philippe or Moses Enriquez to go big. Very, very short boundaries, square on both sides. Restrict the opportunity, square of the wicket. And I think that they've got a bowling unit more than capable of really restricting this scoreline. Josh Philippe there to open the batting with Curtis Patterson. 173 needed, or 174 at 8.7 and over. Bring it on. The qualifier all comes down to these next 20 overs. Riley Meredith to open the bowling. The run chase about to commence. Let's go. Riley Meredith to Curtis Patterson, I believe, will be facing the first ball. Down the leg side, there was a little tickle there, a big noise. Wade is very interested. Meredith is very interested. There was a clear noise down the leg side. No movement from the umpire. Oh, it would take a big set of balls to review this, and they've done it. A monstrous set of balls they've got. Reviewing on the very first delivery. There was definitely a noise, but it sounded like shirt, actually, a flick of the shirt or the hip on the way through. It definitely didn't sound like bat. But let's have a look. This is a huge moment. Patterson, as this ball goes down the leg side, he just sort of prods at it, and it looks like it's... this is not even close to his body, I don't think. There was a noise there. But what's it caught? Has it caught the glove? No, it's missed the glove as well, so this is going to be hip and a waste of a review. Well, I completely understand their excitement. Well, that is the end of the Hurricanes review. I do understand the excitement, though. I really do. You come charging in, trying to defend your total in a qualifying final, and the excitement just gets the better of you. As this time, Patterson whips it away. Out to deep square, just the one. Deep square leg. So I totally get it. I really do. But, wow. That is pretty early to burn your review. Some excitement to start the run chase. .173 needed off 118 balls. Slip in place. Meredith cuts him in half. Philippe just tries to throw the bat down at that one. And he got absolutely cut in half. Fabulous bowling. Riley Meredith was sorely missing from the bowling attack in the Melbourne Stars game. Deciding to rest him so that he is all fully recharged and raring to go for this one. None for one at the Sydney Sixers. Meredith, a fantastic start. Philippe on strike. Drops this one in short. Off the top edge. Wade comes in. Takes the catch. And Josh Philippe's gone for a duck. That is a massive wicket. Riley Meredith, what a superstar. And Josh Philippe was late through on this one as he tries to pull it away on the leg side. Straight up in the air off the top edge. And Matthew Wade, the man with the gloves, comes flying in for a secure catch. Philippe gone for a duck. The Sydney Sixers 1 for 1, and the Hurricanes, they are right on top now. That is the breakthrough that they so ambitiously wanted off the first delivery. Well, they end up getting it. Just took a few more balls. Incredible bowling from Riley Meredith. His sensational form of BBL 14 continues. And Jack Edwards coming in at first drop. 1 for 1, 0.4 overs gone. Oh, that is a huge moment in the context of the game. Cameron, thank you very much for the 5 roses. Cheers. Edwards fends away to the offside. Dot ball. Oh, they've got their tails up here, the Hurricanes. Fielders flying in from everywhere. .173 needed off 115. Caleb, thank you very much for the rose. I'll try and slow down a few seconds. Sometimes I get overly excited. I'll try and slow down a few seconds so that everybody's got a chance to catch up. Edwards slashes at this outside off, and it's through to Wade for a top ball. Michelle says they really need a more masculine gift, don't they? Yes, it feels so weird. It really does. I still haven't got used to it. We're still very new to TikTok, and it still does feel a bit weird, like big burly bloke like myself standing here thanking a bunch of other blokes in the chat room for sending me roses and hearts. Like, thank you, boys. I appreciate all the love. Gannon into the bowling attack now. An ice cream cone, that'll do. Caleb sent an ice cream cone. Cheers, Caleb. Gannon to Patterson. Turned off the pads, square on the leg side for just a single. Kano! That's gotta be Kano! That's gotta be Kano! Sorry. Kano 97, yes. The NRL is the bread and butter of the channel. The core ingredient of what we do at the Wasted World of Sports. It's the reason it returned. The reason the channel returned after a brief attempt at the 2019 Rugby World Cup. As this flies away off the top edge, the man gets under it at third man and takes the catch. The Sixers are 2 down. Gannon sends Edwards back on his way for a duck. It's raining ducks out here in Hobart. The Sydney Sixers are 2 for 2. Edwards was looking to go square on the offside. Flies away off the edge. And that is a simple catch down at third man, or the third man backward point region. The Sydney Sixers in dire straits here, 2 for 2. After 1.2 overs. Caleb, I've been absolutely loving BBL 14. Absolutely loving it. And I will be doing the ICC Champions Trophy as well, I decided. So fun has been the BBL that I will do the... I won't do every game of the ICC Champions Trophy, but like the more good, the more good games. 2 for 2 here. 1.2 overs gone. Down the leg side, Enriquez will come through for a leg bye. James Tainch. Ahoy there, mate. Yes, this is the qualifying final. Winner of this one goes right through to the big one. And the loser will get a second chance. The loser of this one will face the winner of tomorrow night's game between the Thunder and the Stars. By the way, I did cave in and buy doubles tonight, but I think I controlled myself a lot better. Gannon into Enriquez. Miscommunication. Direct hit will be close. And he's missed the stumps. Oh, boy. Panic stations out in the middle there. Enriquez and Patterson, miscommunication. And that was very nearly a run out. The umpire's also nearly had his head taken off. Some good reflexes there from the ump. Final ball of the over. Enriquez off the top edge of the bat and over the top of the slip, and protection out there. Third man comes around and keeps it down to just one. 2 for 5 at the end of 2 overs. And the Sydney Sixers here. The Hobart Hurricanes, we've been saying, is it the year of the Hurricane? They've got the strongest bowling unit in BBL 14 by far. And it's almost like they've been saving up for this moment. Hopefully they're not playing themselves out here, if you know what I mean. Sometimes you've got to do just enough to win and keep something in reserve. you would hate to think they're playing their final here as big shout down the leg side, but yeah, after the first ball of the innings, there'll be very little interest in this one from the umpire. Phoenix FN, if the Sixers lose this one, they will go on and face the winner of tomorrow night's game between the Thunder and the Stars. So they get a second chance. Riley Meredith 1 for 1 off 1.1 overs. Caleb sent a treasure box. Edged! Taken! Huge catch in the slips. Ben McDermott flying away to his left. And the Sixers are 3 for 5. Moses Enriquez is gone. That's a huge wicket. If you thought Philippe was a big one, what about Moses Enriquez out for 1? And the balls from Tim David to have a slip in place. And Ben McDermott takes the catch, leaping away to his left. 3 for 5. After winning the toss and electing to field first. Oh, and some kid in the crowd is letting him know about it too as he walks up the tunnel. So Caleb has sent a treasure box with 20 somethings in it, 20 coins, 20 gold coins. Now, I'm still so new to TikTok, I honestly have no idea what that even means. I think somebody in the chat room has to tap on the chest. The treasure chest, by the way, not my chest. UFC. Yeah, I think if somebody taps on the chest, I don't know how it works. Jordan Silk out to the middle. Sorry, not out. There's not been another wicket fall. Jordan Silk out to the middle as the Sixers 3 for 5. Well under the pump here. Riley Meredith has been on the money from ball number 1. Riley Meredith with the big wickets. Philippe and Enriquez. Rested from the last game. Playing this one. Edged past the slips for 4. Draws the edge again. This time, well, they needed 2 slips in place. Jordan Silk gets away with that one. And that's what Meredith is saying, I think. Meredith is like, where was my second and third slip? I like them squeezed, UFC, not slapped, if it's all the same to you. A squeeze and then a little bit of a tickle. Oh, almost chopped on there from Silk. Dangerously close to the stumps. And a dot ball. This is incredible bowling from Riley Meredith. Gibbo, thank you very much for the rose. And Matty Colkin, thank you very much for the heart me. Oh, wait, what? After this, hang on. Is that Djokovic versus Carlos Alcaraz? Drifting onto the pads here. Silk turns it away into the gap, racing over the outfield. And that goes for 4. A much-needed boundary. Oh, that should be a cracking game. Djokovic versus Alcaraz. They should go the distance as well. I reckon that could be a 5-setter. 3 for 13 here, the Sydney Sixers after 3. They are under the pump. Still needing 161 to win. And Tim David says, we will keep the pressure on. Gannon into bowl. We'll finish off the power play with our frontline bowlers. Why not? Patterson. Off the shoulder of the bat. Skews away to the offside for a single at most, but I think a dot ball there as Darth Vader has sent through a TikTok. 4 TikToks. Thank you very much, Darth Vader. To the dark side. Three for 13, 3.1. Gannon to Patterson. Just punching this one straight to mid-wicket. Dot ball. They're loving their cricket at the moment, the Hobart Hurricanes. 3 for 13. 161 needed off 100 balls. Patterson turns it square. On the leg side for 1. What is the road to recovery here for the Sydney Sixers? 160 needed off 99. Jordan Silk and Patterson. This would be a more than capable partnership. It's a big, big ask. And it's an unlikely ask, but I'm just suggesting, like, what is the avenue to victory now for the Sixers? These two need to take some time to get themselves in, obviously. Probably call the surge immediately if they're still out there after the 10 overs. The required run rate is still not completely out of hand. But what is their path to victory right now, the Sixers? Nixon B, ahoy mates. 2 off this over and a third now as Patterson punches to the circle. Mid-on is there. Just the 1 run. UFC OnlyFans YouTube question. If content is not copyrighted, is one able to use YouTube Premium to download it and then re-upload it? For what purpose re-upload it? Jensen King, ahoy mate. Noah says the Canes are going to the final. Might be one for Discord later on in UFC, so that I can understand a little more context around the questions. Three for 17. 4 overs gone. What a start here for the Hurricanes. Well, Noah, I've been saying for quite a few games now that it could be the year of the Hurricane. I would love to see a Hurricane Stars final. That would be, as a Brisbane Heat supporter, and my team, like, sucks. That's what I would like to see. Hurricanes versus Stars. Then we're guaranteed of a new winner. Hatzelglue into the attack. They've turned immediately to the spinners now, the Hurricanes. Hatzelglue drifts onto the pads. Starts with a single. Gets away with a poor delivery there. To get views. Thank you, UFC. I couldn't have guessed that part. No, that's my bad. That's my bad. I left that statement a little too open-ended, didn't I? I kind of meant, are you just taking the video and not changing it in any way, or are you doing a reaction to it, or an edit to it, or a duet to it, or something? Cut away for 4, Patterson. And the Sixers get their second boundary. Beautiful shot, that one. 3 for 22 now, the Sixers. Starting to get a move along. Boy. Back down the pitch, past the bowler. They'll come through for a single. .152 needed off 94 balls. Oh. Georgia, ahoy there. Going for the Hurricanes. I was a little bit concerned about the score, actually. After the start that Mitch Owen got the Canes off to, I thought that they might have just been a little bit short. But they've come out, this bowling attack spearheaded by Riley Meredith. They are going to be very hard to beat for the remainder of this tournament, the Hobart Hurricanes. 6 off this over now, 7 from Hatzelglue. This has been the Sixers' best so far. 150 needed off 91. This ball skids on a little bit. Patterson chops it away to the offside. Another single. So I think the road to recovery, the road to victory now for the Sixers will obviously be no more wickets. No more wickets. They've got to get to at least the 10th over now with and just keep that required run rate maintainable. And a maintainable required run rate would be don't let it get out past 11. Definitely not 12. If they can get themselves to the 10th over, a required run rate still 11 or thereabouts, preferably on or under, and call that power surge straight away with these two out there, suddenly this game has a whole new complexion. That's the road, that's the path to victory now for the Sixers. As Ellis into the attack. It's unrelenting from the Hurricanes. They've just faced 4 overs of Meredith and Gannon, had an over of Hatzelglue, and now here's the captain, Nathan Ellis, bringing himself on. What a bowling lineup it is. Chris Jordan's going to throw a couple down there in the middle overs. Yeah, the Hobart Hurricanes, boy, they've got such a strong and balanced bowling unit. 3 for 26 here, the Sixers. Slower ball. Just drifting onto the legs a little bit there. Punch down the ground for a single, though. Jordan Silk moves to 13 of 10. Patterson is 12 of 12. Three for 27. They've just got to be careful here. The Hurricanes just got to be careful a little bit. They don't want to let, as that's wide down the leg side, Ellis gets his line wrong on this occasion. Yeah. They don't want to relax too much and feel like the job's been done. They've got to keep the foot on the throat. 3 for 28 here. 146 needed off 88. Drops this one in a little shorter. Patterson just cuts it out to deep point for a single. 4 off this over so far. And that required run rate for the first time hits 10 and over. Popped up to 10. Ellis with 3 left. Beautiful line and length. Chris Jordan on the circle there. Fires back in. Just another single. 2 balls left in this over. It's 3 for 30. 144 needed now off 86. They've recovered nicely here in this little stanza, the Sixers. And I suppose that's the way they have to look at it as well. The Sydney Sixers just got to take it in blocks. Blocks of overs. Three for 31, 5.5 gone. Yeah, they've just got to be a little careful here, the Hurricanes. The job's not done. They've taken 3 big wickets, but the job is not done. Final ball of the over. Ellis drifts onto the pads there, and Silk turns it away. They should get 2. And that's well played from Silk. 2 to end the over. 8 from it. A good one for the Sixers. 3 for 33. 6 overs gone as they look to build and recover after a diabolical start. The required run rate now dropping under 10. So they're doing well. Looking to get that recovery going. Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz. Looks like it's going exactly how we expected it to go. Very, very close game. 3-3 over there in the first set. That's an exciting game, that one. Are we in the quarterfinal state? Yes, we are. Quarterfinals of the Australian Open. Very good. Patterson drives this down the ground. Long on and long off are both in place, but they'll come back for 2. That's good running. Nickel Chaudhry's into the bowling attack. After 7 overs, the Hurricanes were 1 for 61 as this one is skied into the gap, though. Square of the wicket on the offside. Over point for 4. Curtis Patterson, what a shot. That is a fabulous hit. Drives down the ground to long off. They come back, push hard for a second, and that is some good running between the wickets. 8 off this over so far. Well, they're doing what they need to do here, the Sixers, and they're doing it relatively risk-free. And this is just what I was talking about, the Hurricanes. They can't afford to get too comfortable here. They've got to keep the pressure on. They've got to keep the foot on the throat. Can't relax too much because this game can turn. It can turn on its head very, very quickly. Required run rate, 9.9. Silk off the pads. Just a single on this occasion. No chance of a second. Three for 43, 6.5 gone. And they've just got 11 off this over very, very easily. That was a fantastic over again for the Sixers. The recovery continues. Patterson, 23 off 18, and Silk contributing nicely down the other end. They have got themselves into a scenario here, the Sixers, where they could turn things around. Let's see what's going on with the odds. Obviously, the Hurricanes would still be raging favourites. Hatzelglue in for his second over. Off the top edge of the bats. Lands safely. Just short of the bowler who's racing through after his delivery to try and get hold of that one. And yes, the Hobart Hurricanes, $1.19. Very short-priced favourites still. Despite this little mini fight back from Patterson and Silk. Patterson cuts it away for a single. The man at cover racing in just to keep it down to one. Jordan Silk, 17 of 13. Tim David changing his field around. So 7.2 overs gone, 129 needed to win, 76 balls. Hatzelglue gets this one to skip on a bit faster, down the ground for one. And that required run rate now drifting out above 10 and over again. That. Above 10 again. Patterson just chops this down, square the wicket on the offside. Three for 47. All three of those wickets falling inside the opening 4 overs. Just 3 from this over from Hatzelglue so far. Been a good one for the Hurricanes. Drops it in a little shorter. Silk tries to pull it away. Doesn't get all of it. It just drops onto the leg side for a single. 126 off 73. I am not willing to write anybody off from this game just yet. We have seen from T20 so many different swings and roundabouts. Drops it in on a half volley length, and Patterson scoops it over the leg side for 6, a maximum. That was a big moment in that over. And the Hurricanes now, well, they've got to break this partnership. They have got to break this partnership. The sooner, the better for them. A nice little mini fight back here from the Sydney Sixers. Three for 54, 8 overs gone. $120 needed, run rate required, 10 and over. They've kept it very manageable. Now, the ultimate question does start to go, do they call the power surge immediately at the 10 over mark? I guess we see how things are going. Current run rate 6.75. The required run rate is 10. And Chris Jordan's into the bowling attack. Jordan to Silk. Turns it off the legs out to deep square for a single. And they're playing it very smart here, these two. Patterson and Silk. They completely understand what needs to happen here, and they're taking the singles. They're pushing the 2 when it's on, and they are dispatching the bad deliveries, the over-pitched balls. They're doing exactly what needs to be done. Jordan to Jordan, indeed. Chris Jordan to Jordan Silk. Oh no, Patterson's on strike this time. Punches down to mid-off for a single. Jeez, that should have been a dot ball. They should have been saving a single there. Yeah, Chris Jordan shaking his head. They've just taken the foot off the throat here. The Sydney Sixers, they're recovering to a position of parity again. Refusing to go away. Silk, swing and a miss. Well bowled. Chris Jordan just taking the pace off. 118 needed off 69. After such a sensational start with the bat, the Hurricanes, they kind of let their batting innings slide away a little bit. And they got an equally sensational start with the ball. And it's now starting to just drift away a little bit as the Sydney Sixers fight back rolls on. Jordan Silk punches out to long on for one, thinking about a second, but they settle for one. Been a nice little rebuild so far. 2 balls left here in this opening over from Chris Jordan. None for 3. Off the outside edge. Protection out there at third man. They'll come through for a single. 4 off this over. The required run rate, 10.32. Just slowly starts to drift out towards 11 now. I mean, remember what we said? We said if they can just maintain, limit the damage, get to over number 10, no more wickets down, the required run rate not blowing out too far beyond 11 and over. Call the power surge straight away with 2 set batsmen out there. And they could still turn this game on its head. As Silk now scoops it down the leg side. Well, fine-legged come up inside the circle. And Silk finds the space. Square of the wicket. Not hitting it too fine. And that's away for 4. That's a big boundary, that one, because Chris Jordan had been maintaining on that over. And again, they've just given up a boundary on the final ball. Oh, they couldn't possibly, could they? They couldn't possibly, could they? The Sydney Sixers, they're refusing to go away here. 3 for 62. 9 overs gone. Oh, this game. Blake, ahoy there, mate. How are you? Chaudhry back into the attack. The Hurricanes, it's a very defensive field set. I'd be tempted to have another 1 or 2 up inside the circle just to put some pressure on. The Sydney Sixers at the moment, these 2 are being allowed to dictate terms. They've allowed these 2 batsmen to get set, and they're just dictating terms at the moment, not doing anything outrageous. As Silk defends this back down the pitch. Chaudhry builds his own bowling. Dot ball. 111 needed off 64. Floats this one up. A full toss driven down the ground. Should be cut off by the man at long on. Yes, long on and long off combine. And they keep that down to... Oh, did they come back for a third? No, they came back for 2. 2 runs saved there. Silk, swing and a miss, and he's throwing the bat. Jordan Silk's lost his bat. It's gone flying. And an all-important dot ball. Carlos Alcaraz is $1.44 at the moment. Novak Djokovic, $2.63. Oh, was there a break? Was there a service break? No, that's just what the odds are. Well, Carlos Alcaraz is the number 3 seed and Novak's 7, so probably fair odds. Final ball. Patterson turns it leg side, just a single to finish. 3 for 67. 10 overs gone. Oh, pick a winner in this one. Honestly, the Hurricanes have just let it slide a little bit. The Sydney Sixers will be feeling a lot more comfortable about things. They'll feel like they're in this game now. 3 for 67 at the halfway point. They'll be feeling mighty fine about themselves after this recovery. But still a lot of work to do, of course, for both teams. Oh, here we go. Djokovic on serve. Alcaraz has got the advantage. Big moment here in the first set of the quarterfinal. Can he pinch a break of service? The 3 for 67 at the halfway mark. What a recovery it's been here for the Sydney Sixers. 107 still to win of 60 deliveries. Good Lord, you wouldn't write them off, would you? You would not write them off. Power surge still to play. I'd be calling it immediately if it were me, but the pressure that a big couple of power surge overs would do to the bowling team could be the making or breaking of the game. I'd be calling it straight away. But let's see what they do. Three for 67 at the 10 over mark. They've still got Ben Dorshus to come out, I suppose. You wouldn't mind a power surge with Ben Dorshus there. No action yet. Hatzelglue on to bowl his third. Patterson on strike. He drops this one in short. Too short. Cut away, but can't beat the fielder in the covers. Nathan Ellis. Dot ball. Anderson 36 of 28. Pulls this away for 4. Patterson finds the gap through deep square leg. Well, here they come, the Sydney Sixers. Oh, they couldn't possibly do it, could they? Surely not. Patterson goes to 40 of 29. Flips this away to Ellis in the covers. Just a single. 5 off the over. The required run rate creeping out towards 11. 10.66. That is still maintainable. 102 of 57. Silk, 28 of 23. Cuts this away through the gap on the offside, but a man out there at deep cover on the fence. 6 off the over so far. I mean, either way, credit to the Sydney Sixers here because they were so under the pump early. It would have been easy to just fold, wouldn't it? As Patterson pulls this one away for a maximum. Square on the leg side again. Well, we were talking about the square boundaries and how short they are on both sides of the field. And Hatzelglue's just dropped this in way too short. Curtis Patterson says, thank you, sir. And that's a big over for the Sydney Sixers. A single to finish. Oh, God, here they come. The Hobart Hurricanes. Suddenly, they're in a scenario where they need a wicket. They'll be starting to feel the pressure a wee bit here. Stay mad. Lowell says, how's the Sixers going? They are recovering very nicely indeed. As Carlos Alcaraz does get the break. And he leads the first set over Novak Djokovic 5-4. Serving for the first set out there at Rod Laver Arena. The Sydney Sixers, here they come. 3 for 80, 11 overs gone. Gannon back into the attack. They know they need a wicket here. Drops it in too short. And Patterson whips it away to deep square leg. And the catch is taken. Well, Tim David, that is brilliant captaincy. They knew they needed a wicket. So he turns to one of his frontline bowlers. It's a risk to give him an over this early on. And he gets the breakthrough. What a big wicket that is, and they know it. 4 for 80. Relief for the Hobart Hurricanes faithful. Patterson falls for 48 off 33. Words cannot describe how much they needed that, the Hurricanes. I mean, they needed that. They were staring down a horror scenario there where it looked like the Sydney Sixers were about to get themselves on top in this game. It would have been completely unfathomable for the Sydney Sixers to become favourites after the start that they got. That's a big breakthrough, that one. Big wicket. Shaw out to bat now. 4 for 80. 94 needed off 53. Gannon gets the big breakthrough. 2 for 7 off his 2.1. Brilliant captaincy from Tim David. Knows that they needed the wicket. So he turned to one of his guns. Rayner is a cutie patootie. Ahoy, mate. Welcome back. Yeah, that was a huge one. Oh, sorry, Tim David's not the captain too, by the way. I'm giving Tim David credit. It's Nathan Ellis who's the captain. And this is turning into a big over for the Hurricanes. A wicket and 2 dot balls. Gannon is 2 for 7. But yeah, of course, it's Nathan Ellis who's the captain. Here I am giving Tim David all the credit. Shaw turns it to the leg side. A forced shot. Just for 1. 4 for 81. 93 needed off 50 balls. Gannon with 2 left. 2.4. 2 for 8. The Hurricanes would surely still be well on top from here, Rayner. Hurricanes surely on top. Well fielded there at backward point. Just a single. Caleb Jewell doing well there with one hand. 4 for 82. After 12 overs, the Hurricanes were 2 for 91. So I mean, the Sydney Sixers are not that far off the pace, but they'll obviously be very concerned about those wickets. Shaw tries to just club this down the ground. Doesn't get hold of it at all. They take a single. Gannon with 3 runs and a wicket off that over. It was a great one for the Hurricanes. Could have been the turning point. Well, could it be the turning point of the game, that one? Just when the Sydney Sixers' recovery was looking completely on point, Gannon with the big breakthrough. This game has still certainly not been one-way traffic. It's been a great game. It has been everything that we expected it to be. Riley Meredith back into the attack. Well, they've turned to their front line, have the Hurricanes. Shaw advances down the pitch. Direct hit at the non-striker's end, but safely home. So, the Hurricanes here, and you certainly can't blame them for it, but they are definitely going all in here. Elijah, ahoy mate, welcome back. They're definitely going all in here, looking for the victory. The Hurricanes returning to the frontline bowlers, Riley Meredith and Gannon. Wide down the leg side, and that will be called. Gonna have to do that one again, Meredith. Silk on strike, just fends to the leg side. Oh, when are they going to call the surge? Jordan Silk will need to lead the way. 89 or 47. Jordan Silk could choose some numbers out of that. Four balls left. Meredith to Shaw. Fends it away to the offside. Third man runs around. And they come back for 2. That's well run between the wickets there. Pushing the second. Carlos Alcaraz with the first set. 6-4 over Novak Djokovic. Come on, Carlos. Hurricanes easy now. Oh, geez. I'm still not ready to call this one a straightforward. I'm still not easy to call this straightforward. Four for 88. Delicately poised game. It'll be a big power surge. Two balls left here in the Riley Meredith over. Shaw on strike, advances down the pitch, tries to drill him over the top of long on. Has he got enough on it? Just over the head of Chris Jordan. And they'll come back for a second. Oh, that was a high-risk shot for very little reward. Final ball here for Meredith. 84 needed or 43. Ball toss. Scooped up over the top of Jordan at mid-on, and that will race away for 4. He's just overcooked this one, Riley Meredith. 4 for 94. 80 runs needed or 42. The required run rate, 11.16. So they've got to call the surge now. They can't let that required run rate drift out any more than it already is. Matty, tomorrow night we'll be doing the Eliminator. Sydney Thunder versus the Melbourne Stars. And Nathan Ellis bringing himself back into the attack here. The captain says, it's all right, lads. I'll do it. I'll take us home. 4 for 94. After 13 overs, the Hurricanes were 2 for 97 this game. Just evening up. Silk on strike. Pushes to the leg side. They want 2. They run hard for the first. They come back for the second. They might go on. They almost got an overthrow there. Well run there. 2 to start the over. Current run rate 7.29. The required rate 11.41. When will they pull the trigger on that surge? Silk advances, cuts to the offside. Just 1 out there to deep point. 4 for 97, 77 needed or 40 balls. Power surge in hand. Ellis to short. Advances down the wicket. Slower ball just over the top of the stumps. He had no idea about that one. And this has just painfully bounced over the top of middle and leg. Out the back of the hand there. Well bowled, Ellis. Drops this in shorter. And Shaw pulls it straight out to Chaudhry at deep square leg. Just the one. 4 for 98. You would think that they have to call the surge the next over. Unless they're trying to... Maybe they're just trying to get an extra over out of Gannon or Meredith. Down the leg side, off the hip. Through for a leg by. Yeah, maybe they're just trying to sneak an extra over out of Meredith or Gannon before they call the surge. Force the Hurricanes into using one of the frontline bowlers. Don't know that that's necessarily the option I would have taken, but I do like the experimental thinking. Silk punches to the offside for a quick single. That will end the over. Meredith and Gannon both still have 1 over left. So I'm just wondering if they're trying to force an over from Meredith or Gannon before they pull the trigger on the surge. Christian Kupkovic, ahoy, mate. 75 runs required. That required run rate now just drifting out beyond 12. And Chris Jordan comes into the bowling attack. Oh, power surge has been called. Power surge called. Well, there we go. That answers the question. The power surge has been called. They've decided now is the time, and Chris Jordan is the bowler who has been turned to here. Nathan Ellis has said, Chris Jordan, you're up, sir. 4 for 99, 75 off 36. Here are the big wickets. Here are the big overs. These are a massive 2 overs now. 12.5 is the required run rate. Jordan Silk on strike. Chris Jordan in. Full and on the legs with ball number 1. Turned away square on the leg side for a single. They'll take that, the Hurricanes. They'll take that. A single off ball number 1. And the 100 is up for the Sixers. Shaw on strike. A single off the first ball was not a good start. Jordan to Shaw, half volley, scooped. One bounce to Tim David at mid-on. And they'll come through for a single. No, they won't. Oh, he's done enough to stop the single being taken. Oh, surely they had to run for that. Well, if Tim David fields it cleanly, I suppose it's a suicidal run, in fairness. And a dot ball. So, this has been a good start to the surge for the Hurricanes. Chris Jordan hasn't exactly found his line and length. Wide outside of stump, drilled down the ground for 4. Well, there we go. 3 poor deliveries. One's finally been punished. Shaw with a nice straight drive down the ground. Glorious shot. Bo, ahoy there. Who's my player of the match so far? Oh, I love me some Riley Meredith. I mean, he got the big wickets. In the opening 3 overs, Riley Meredith got Josh Philippe and Moses Enriquez. It'd be hard to go past that alone at the moment. We'll see. If the Sydney Sixers win, it'll be Jordan Silk who gets player of the match. Because if the Sydney Sixers go on a win, it'll be him leading the way and still there at the end. He's got to carry the bat from here. 4 for 105. 2 balls left here. 6 off the opening surge over so far. Beautiful Yorker from Chris Jordan. Silk just jams the bat down and it's a single out to backward point. Beautiful bowling. I mean, that is just sensational power surge bowling from Chris Jordan. Right on the money. Seven runs off this opening surge over. They need a 6 here. They need a 6. They need a 6. The Sydney Sixers. This is a big delivery. Shaw on strike. Chris Jordan. Right on the money again. Slash through the offside, but there's a man out there at deep point. What a fantastic over. And the Hobart Hurricanes win that little battle. The opening power surge over is done. 8 runs from it. That is nowhere near enough for the Hurricanes. And over number 1 of the surge. Hands down. Advantage Hurricanes. And you just get the feeling they've left themselves a wee bit too much to do here. The Sydney Sixers. They built the recovery nicely, but yeah, I mean, you can't have 8 runs off a power surge over in this situation. When you need over 12 and over to win, you can't have a power surge over go for 8. This needs to be a biggie. And Nathan Ellis brings himself on. Captain Courageous indeed. Slower ball outside off to start. Punch down to Tim David at mid-off. This is beautiful, beautiful bowling. This is incredible bowling. Right on the money. Nathan Ellis. Drops it in shorter this time. Silk tries to pull it from outside off over the onside. Gets just enough on it. Over the top of Chris Jordan at mid-on and just crawls its way to the rope for 4. 4 for 112. Can they just start to open things up a wee bit now, the Sydney Sixers? Ellis in again. Silk goes to 41. That's wide outside off. Backed away to give himself room. And he backed away a little too much. Just inside that blue line. Fantastic bowling from Ellis. Oh, they're winning the power surge hands down here, the Hurricanes. 62 of 27. That required run rate now, 13.78. They haven't taken advantage of the field being up at all. Silk, 41 of 34. Ellis, half volley, scooped up by Silk. Didn't get all of it. It will go for 4, though. Over the top of point. Jordan says it is so hot in WA. Two balls left on the surge. Silk backs away, gives himself room, pulls this one over to the leg side. Protection out there on the rope. Picks out the fielder. 10 off the over. It's not good enough. The Hurricanes are winning the power surge. $13.68 the required rate. 57 of 25 balls. The requirement. Final ball of the power surge. It's got to be a 6. Goes after it, Shaw. Gets underneath it. It's high in the air. Chris Jordan running around it long on, but it lands safe. And they'll come back for 2. And the Hobart Hurricanes have hands down won the power surge period. 4 for 119 at the end of 16. 55 runs off 24. That is the equation. 55 off 24, and they just missed out there, the Sydney Sixers. It's been a nice recovery. Credit where credit is due. They've recovered well. Riley Meredith ripped them apart to open the bowling. All the credit in the world to Riley Meredith, but what a fight back. And speak of the devil, here he is, 2 for 20 after his 3 so far. And Riley Meredith is about to be bowled out here. His final over. Jordan Silk on strike, 46 of 36 deliveries. Here we go. Meredith to Silk. Drops it in short. Silk flat bats it back down the ground. Will it be four? Yeah, no. Chris Jordan sticks the foot out. Saves the boundary. They come back for a second. Wow, what a cheeky bit of fielding out there from Chris Jordan. Just sticking the foot out. Saving 2 runs. I follow back in 10 seconds. Ahoy, mate. North is the best, Timmy. Ahoy. Says up the Hurricanes. Meredith to Silk. Backs away. Gives himself room. Rocks onto the back foot and pulls it out to deep square leg for 1. This is just fantastic bowling. The Hobart Hurricanes bowling unit, seriously, they took the pressure off for a little bit of time there. Allowed the Sydney Sixers to get a wee bit of a rebuild going on, but this is just impressive. Really impressive stuff. Can you tell that I'm impressed? Shaw scoops this one away over the top of short fine leg for 4. Beautiful shot. The surge has been used. Yes. Deegan Shaw, the surge has been used. Harry Collins, ahoy, mate. Harry Collins says, I think the Canes have it in the bag. I think so too. I just don't want to be the one to call it. I don't want to put the mockers on them. They're in a good position. The last thing I want to do is put the mockers on them from here. Meredith to Shaw. Shaw scoops this square of the wicket on the leg side for 6. Just has enough to get it over the rope. Oh, God. Well, here they come again, the Sydney Sixers. They're just refusing to go away. Wickets in the dugout. 48 of 21 balls. Ellis has just sort of floated the past couple of balls up there. (42 of 20). 2 balls left in this over. Swing and a miss outside off from Shaw as Meredith takes the pace off. Furious with himself there is Shaw. He knows that the offside was the way to go there. Trying to force it on the leg side. Final ball for Riley Meredith. Drops it in short, and Shaw pulls it away on the bounce to mid-wicket. Just a single. 50 partnership is up, but it's 4 for 133. 41 runs needed off the last 18 balls. It can't possibly, can it? It can't possibly go down to the wire. Uh, 41 off 18. Chris Jordan to come into bowl. Dear, oh dear. Someone says that Silk would be a big wicket for the Hurricanes. Absolutely. Absolutely. They've got to get him. Jordan to Shaw. Silk runs hard for the first. Wants 2. No. Settles for 1. Down to long on. (40 runs needed of 17. Chris Jordan, none for 17 of 2.1. He's bowled well so far. North is the best, Timmy. You're going to the grand final in Hobart if they make it. Very nice. Well, we are not long away from finding out. Walshy, thank you very much for sharing the live there as well, mate. Very much appreciated. Jordan to Silk. Drops it in short. Silk pulls it away. Square on the leg side. Well fielded by Chaudhry. They should be able to come back for 2 quite comfortably. 50 up for Jordan Silk. .38 needed of 16. We've seen it happen. We have seen it happen. Full and on the pads, Silk just jams it down a short fine leg for a dot ball. Unless they came through for a quick single there, they did. They took the man on it at short fine leg. Brings Shaw on strike. This has been a good over from Jordan. How good has this bowling been? 37 needed or 15 balls. Jordan drifts onto the leg side, but Shaw can't get him away. Just a single. 37 or 15. Such good bowling. Really impressive stuff. Really, really impressive stuff, it must be said. Two balls left. Just 5 of this over so far. Silk, slower ball. Was almost through the shot too early. Adjusted well, but it will just be 1, 2 at most. They push hard and come back for the second. 34 off 13. Well, this has got to be it's got to be a boundary. 34 off 13. They would want that under 30. They being the Sixers, of course. The Sydney Sixers would want this under 30 for the final 2 overs. 34 off 13. This is a big delivery. Chris Jordan to Jordan Silk. Half volley. Drilled down the ground, but there is a man on the fence out there, Tim David. And it's just a single. Chris Jordan, take a bow. None for 23 off his 3 overs so far. 33 runs needed off the last 2 overs. You would have to think it's a step too far now for the Sydney Sixers. It would take some really, really poor bowling from here, and I'm assuming that Ellis will be bowling one. Gannon has still got one left, I'm fairly certain. And you've got Chris Jordan, who's still got one left. There's so many options here. So many options. And Ellis brings himself on for over number 19. Jordan Silk on strike. Wide outside off stump. Big wide. Well, they didn't want that. To state the obvious. Not what they wanted. Ellis to Silk. Nice full delivery. Wanting to. They run hard. The chances at the keeper's end. Silk, though. In he goes. Back for the second. 30 runs needed off 11 balls. Silk on strike. Ellis drops it in short. Silk pulls this away. Has he got enough on it? No, Chris Jordan dives to his right to take the big wicket, the match-winning wicket. Jordan Silk is gone, caught by Chris Jordan in the deep. And that will be the game. That was the big wicket. An incredible fight back from the Sydney Sixers, though, that we were even talking about the potential of a fight back. Ben Dorshus to come out, but 30 off 10. I appreciate Ben Dorshus, but 30 off 10, really. Oh, Silk is furious. Silk is throwing his gear around everywhere in frustration. Well, here we go. Ben Dorshus, 30 off 10 is such a big ask for anybody, though. Ellis to Dorshus, 30 off 10. Dorshus clubs it away onto the leg side. The catch is dropped. It's been put down by Gannon on the rope at deep mid-wicket. They come back for 2. 28 off 9. And Ben Dorshus, he should have been gone on ball number 1. 28 off 9. Half volley, Dorshus sends it. That's a biggie. That is a monster of a hit. Nathan Ellis, that is just a pure half volley on the legs. And Dorshus, drop me at your own peril, he says. That is a monstrous 6. $83 meters. 5 for 152, 22 off 8. Wide outside the off stump, cut away. Straight to the man at deep point, just the 1 run. All right, Shaw's got a free hit here, basically. 22 off 8. Shaw has got a free hit to send this as far as he can. $21 off 7. If that becomes 15 off 6. Oh, dear God. Slower ball, half volley outside off, and it's a swing and a miss. A dot ball to finish. 21 runs off the last over. Ben Dorshus will be on strike. Who's going to bowl it? Who is going to bowl it for the Hobart Hurricanes? It's going to be Chris Jordan. Well, he's bowled extremely well. None for 23 off his 3 so far. $21 runs needed off the final over. Ben Dorshus, the man on strike. Let's go. Five for 153. 21 needed off 6. Chris Jordan to bowl the last over. Ben Dorshus on strike. Harry Ocker, thank you very much, mate. Ahoy and cheers. Welcome along. Wee fan of games says, not going to lie, this is going to turn wrong. Jordan to Dorshus. Edged, was it? There was a noise. No appeal from behind the stumps. And they start with a dot ball. 21 runs off 5 balls. Oh, imagine 5 boundaries and we get a super over. Five boundaries and a super over. Jordan has bowled extremely well. Dorcius goes after it, doesn't get hold of it. Should just be the one. They have to push for 2, you would think. They come back for the second. Wade whips the bails off, but he's home. Dorcius comes back for the second. 19 or 4. They're going to have a look, though. 5 for 153. UFC only fans. If the scores are tied at the end of the 20 overs, then they play a super over. 1 over each. The most runs wins. Safely home. That's well run from Dorcius. It's got to be a 6. This will be not out. 19 or 4. Dorcius on strike. Chris Jordan has bowled extremely well. Ball and outside off, and it's just going to be the single. Beautiful bowling. Chris Jordan. That is death bowling. 5 for 156. It's got to be 3 sixes now, and Shaw is on strike. Dorcius is stranded down the non-striker's end. 18 runs to win, 3 balls to bowl. Chris Jordan, none for 26 or 3.3. Jordan figuring out, where am I going to bowl this? Shaw, 33 off 24 on strike. Beats the bat, hits the legs, knocks him over, and it will be just a single. The crowd has gone berserk. Bonkers. The Hobart Hurricanes are through to the big one. For, I believe, the 3rd time in franchise history, the Hobart Hurricanes are through to the grand final. 17 to win from 2 balls, unless there is a gigantic catastrophe here. Chris Jordan has bowled so well. Dorcius back on strike. Swing and a miss, outside off, another dot ball here for Chris Jordan. $17 off 1. And the Hobart Hurricanes are home. So, for the Sydney Sixers, all is not lost. They've lost this game, but they will now go on and face the winner of tomorrow night as Dorcius sends it down the ground to long on. 1 bouncing over the rope, finishing with a 4. But the big story here, the Hobart Hurricanes are through to the final. They will host the final. And they have defeated the Sydney Sixers here tonight. For the Sydney Sixers, they will go on and face the winner of tomorrow night's elimination between the Sydney Thunder and the Melbourne Stars. Well deserved, though, from the Hobart Hurricanes, in my opinion. They've been the best team throughout the round-robin stages, and they very much deserve to be the first team through to the final for BBL 14. Who gets man of the match? Riley Meredith, I'm giving it to. Let's see who they end up giving it to. Or Chris Jordan, maybe even. Chris Jordan might have a case. I'm just leaning towards Riley Meredith because in the first 3 overs, Meredith took the big wickets of Philippe and Enriquez. Chris Jordan bowled extremely well at the death, but, I mean, 2 massive, massive scalps in the opening 3 overs has me leaning towards Riley Meredith. And the Hurricanes are through. Mitch Owen just didn't do enough for me, honestly. He got them off to a very good start with the bat. I don't think he did enough to justify man of the match. But that's just my personal opinion. Wow. What a performance. What a game. It wasn't as close as we sort of hoped, I suppose, or anticipated, but it was still a fantastic, close game. Unbelievable. The Hurricanes have won by 12 runs. Well, I suppose that's pretty close, isn't it, in the end? Considering the game situation in both innings at one point there, it ended up being a really, really close game. But the Hobart Hurricanes, 12 runs, victors tonight, and they're through to the final. There are some people really, really keen for me to do the tennis. Well, what I do need to do is I need to eat first. So I'll definitely have a break. Because I haven't really eaten all day. Starving. My fat ass needs some food, some sustenance. And, yeah, then we'll see. Because Lord knows I'll still be up. So if Djokovic and Alcaraz go like 4 or 5 sets, we'll definitely be awake for it. I'm nocturnal, by the way. I am a nocturnal creature. I sleep during the day. I come to life during the night. So I'll definitely be awake for it. But let's see. All right, Ways to Water Sports. Another BBL 14 clash in the bag. Hobart Hurricanes are through to the final. Elimination tomorrow. Sydney Thunder and the Melbourne Stars. And the winner of that game will go through to face the Sydney Sixers to see who will play the Hobart Hurricanes in the big one, the grand final. Very well deserved for the Hobart Hurricanes. So if I'm any chance of doing any of the tennis, which does interest me, by the way. I'm curious to see how the tennis would go and how I would go calling it. So it is tempting, but first, I do need to eat, so I will do that. Riley Meredith got it. There you go. Well, that was my shout. Riley Meredith was my shout for man of the match. Good call, I reckon. So, BBL fans, we'll be back tomorrow. Tennis fans, let's see what happens for the rest of the night. Thank you so much. Waste of Water Sports live on YouTube, live on TikTok, and soon to be once again live on Twitch and Facebook. Very much appreciate your company as always. And if I don't see you before then, I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers. Good show. Hurricanes and Riley Meredith. Fantastic performance.